Other than carrying out the chemical tests and making observations, we are also required to write down the observations accurately and make a conclusion or deduce information about our observations of the sample. So in your practical test or practical worksheet, generally you will see something like this format in which you have a column which describes the procedure or test procedures. So for that, you will need to follow the instructions and carry out the test on your sample. Then there will be a column in which you record the observation for the test and a column to write down the conclusion you can draw from what is observed. So for cation test, the the procedure is split into two parts. Okay, the part where you add dropwise of the test reagent, sodium hydroxide or aqueous ammonia, and the part where you add excess of the test reagent. So when you record your observation, you have to clearly tell us what is observed at these two steps. These two steps. Okay, so the two steps. The first step would be the addition of dropwise of test reagent. The possible result is that you would either see a precipitate or you don't see a precipitate. So if you don't see a precipitate, you just record as no precipitate observed or no precipitate formed. But if you see a precipitate, you have to state the color of the precipitate. The second part of the test in which you add excess reagent, you have to describe clearly whether the precipitate is soluble or insoluble in the excess reagent. So here you can see that some precipitates will dissolve and those that dissolve will give you a solution. You have to clearly state the color, the final color of the solution obtained. So for the white precipitate of the aluminum hydroxide, it actually dissolves in excess aqueous sodium hydroxide to give a colorless solution. And the blue precipitate in the test using aqueous ammonia will actually dissolve in excess aqueous ammonia to give a deep blue solution. So clearly state what happened to the precipitate. Did it dissolve or did it not dissolve in excess reagent, and describe the final appearance of the solution obtained if it dissolves. Okay, so if it doesn't dissolve, you simply need to say that it is insoluble in excess of the test reagent, whether it's aqueous ammonia or aqueous sodium hydroxide. Now, in your practical worksheet, you might find this table, which actually summarizes the test results of the various ions for you. Okay, so I can show you. This is one of the example. Now, note that in this table, it just gives you a summary of the test results. But when you record your observations, you cannot just copy the phrasing word to word because it is not complete. For example, here you can see that on adding excess, the precipitate dissolves in excess to form deep blue solution. Now, they never state what is the substance that is in excess, which is wrong. So you cannot just write in excess. Okay, so a light blue precipitate is formed, which is the first part upon addition of a few drops, and the precipitate is soluble in excess aqueous ammonia. So it's very clear that you are doing tests using aqueous ammonia, and it is the excess aqueous ammonia that reacted with the blue precipitate. So this is the correct way in which you should record your observation. Okay, so this is the summary of the test results for the various cations using sodium hydroxide. Take note, this table can be found in your practical worksheet, but then it is not complete because of the phrasing. Okay, in excess actually refers to sodium hydroxide, which you need to clearly indicate when you write down your observation. Okay, these are for the colored ions. Now for ammonium ion, you will not see a precipitate with sodium hydroxide. So you have to test for ammonia gas. And you have to record down the observation for the ammonia gas test. Okay, so turn moist red litmus blue. And lastly, you have to identify the gas, which is ammonia. This is the summary of test results for the various cations with aqueous ammonia. Again, it is not complete. Okay, so you make sure that you use this as a checklist to help you ensure that you have all the keywords. Okay, but you must make sure that the sentence is complete and not like this in which it's not stated what is in excess.